What's up, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight, we're going to go over the preview and predictions for both AEW's Full Gear and Stardom and New Japan's historic crossover event that's happening this weekend. Huge weekend for professional wrestling for both AEW, New Japan, and Stardom all together. They're doing a great show that on a Sunday morning here in the States. There will be a show happening Saturday night that's going to somewhat influence the main of historic crossover, but we'll get to that when we get to that. We're going to start with AEW Full Gear. Before that, I want to say, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, comment down below, like button, follow the social medias, first at Twitter, or on Twitter rather, at Misfit Wrestle TV, on Instagram at Misfit Wrestling Pod, on Facebook at Misfit Wrestling Podcast, and right here on YouTube, youtube.com/at Misfit Wrestling Podcast, and all the good other most social media platforms, which is basically all of those, and then some. Let's go over Full Gear first. Full Gear, lackluster build, if I'm being completely honest. Dynamite was iffy at the end of that. It's just not a great build for the show. Like, something is off with the show. This is the first, by the way, this is going to be the first major AEW pay-per-view since the All Out incident with CM Punk and the Elite. The Elite will be back. They will be taking on Death Triangle for the Trios titles. And that should be interesting to see how that's going to happen. Be revealed. We get the main event with Moxley and MJF for the AEW Championship. We get the women's title, Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter. But we're going to start with some news that came out from the AEW media scrum. So the match that originally was supposed to happen on Full Gear, which is the AEW Eliminator Tournament Finals, is happening next week on Dynamite. So it's not happening on Saturday. I had it to be Ricky Starks versus Ethan Page, so I don't know what's going to happen. Ethan Page is in the finals. We don't know what's going to happen with who's going to be in that finals. I'm still going to go with Ricky Starks and Ethan Page as that match, and I stay Ricky Starks is going to win the title. Or not to win the title, win the match. The winner of that match is going to face Moxley or MJF at Winter is Coming. So that's going to be a little... so I just need to put that out there because we don't know what's going to happen with the rest of that whole tournament, and who's going to face Ethan Page or not. So we'll find out we'll find out on Rampage who's going to face Ethan Page in the finals. so that should be interesting. Let's talk about some of the other things on the show. Let's get some of the early predictions out of the way. Some of the easier predictions here. I think Jade Cargill, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I just don't care about this match here, is going to retain the TBS Championship. Because it just makes a lot of sense. Just going to have that happen there. I don't see Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose is that and I've noticed this a lot with her. You have a new champion, whether this happens even with the AEW Women's title. I don't know if this happened with Toni Storm. I could be wrong, but every time a new champion is crowned after her, actually this happened. I'm not counting her because when she was the champion, it didn't really make sense to count her. But it happened with Riho, it happened with Sheeta, it happened with Britt Baker, it happened with Thunder Rosa. I don't know if it happened with Toni Storm. It's happening now with Jade Cargill. Every time a woman wins the women's title, whether it's TBS Championship or the main women's title, one of the first opponents they have as their first opponent, sort of, is Nyla Rose. I've noticed that quite a bit. I don't think I've seen it with Toni Storm, which is great, because Toni Storm doesn't need that. But Jade Cargill is going to go on to do her run here. I don't know who's going to take the title off of her at this point. Because originally I had it pegged to be Jamie Hayter, but I will talk about Jamie Hayter a little bit later. So So I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with Jade Cargill. I don't know who's gonna win the title of Jade Cargill. Um, a lot of people also. I also had Athena at one point doing it. She lost at All Out, so that didn't make a lot of sense in the world. Um, I am assuming it was. I'm assuming they were gonna peg, or they had positioned, Chris Statler. Let's look at the women's AEW roster here. We got Britt Baker, we have Jamie Hayter, we have Anna Jay, Ty Conchi, Julia, Athena, Chris Statlander, Nyla Rose, Abaddon, Penelope Ford, Serena Deeb, Mercedes Martinez, Riho, Rebel, Red Velvet, Ruby Soho, Sky Blue, Yuka Sakazaki, Kiera Hogan. That's not gonna happen because she's in that baddie section there. Layla Gray, Layla Hirsch, who's currently out with an injury. Emi Sakura, Saraya, which that's not gonna happen. Maybe I mean it might. Madison Rain, Ali, Leva Bates, Paige Van Zandt, who hasn't been seen in quite some time, and Will. You know what? Actually, it's not gonna be Will Nightingale because they've already did that. So I don't know. You know. Okay, so I would actually turn Jade Cargill face and then have Serena Deeb be the mm, actually, you know what? I would say give it to Hikaru Shida. Give Hikaru Shida something else to do. So I'm gonna say I'm either gonna go with Serena Deeb or Hikaru Shida be the one to take the title off of Jade Cargill. That's my prediction for the future on that. Another match that's easy to predict um is Sting and Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. I predict that Sting and Darby Allin are going to remain undefeated in AEW as a tag team. And we eventually get Sting's first one-on-one match in AEW, which still hasn't happened yet. Probably on Dynamite against Jay Lethal. Or it's probably going to be against Jeff Jarrett. I'm picking Sting and Darby Allin. And there's really no reason to do that. Whatsoever. So that's my prediction there. Next up, we got the Acclaimed defending the AEW Tag Team titles against Swerve and Glory. It's gonna be the Acclaimed is gonna retain the championships. They kind of set up FTR as the next challengers, hopefully, because FTR has been the number one contender for fucking 4 or 5 months now. So they've been the number one contenders ever since the Young Bucks dropped the titles to Swerve and Glory. Which still doesn't make a lot of sense to me anyways, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me at all. But I say the Acclaimed are going to retain the tag team titles there. They're going to go on to face FTR probably at Revolution. They're going to build that up. And I don't see FTR going to be on the show either. I think they're saving FTR and the Kingdom for Final Battle on December 10th. So, and they're maybe saving a lot of things here, which is why I believe they're going to be taking the TNT title off of Wardlow here. I think Wardlow's going to lose the TNT title to Powerhouse Hobbs, and I think they're going to go into the final battle with Samoa Joe dropping the TV Championship, the Ring of Honor TV title, Wardlow, and the Samoa Joe is going to move up the card and eventually challenge for the AEW Championship. So that's that, or the Ring of Honor title. You know, you can bring him in for the Ring of Honor title. Whatever you want to do with Samoa Joe, he needs to be doing something else besides not being on television. So that's what I have there. I have Powerhouse Hobbs for winning the TNT title, believe it or not, off of Wardlow. And that sets up Wardlow versus Samoa Joe for the TV title at Ring of Honor Final Battle. Speaking of Ring of Honor, it's Chris Jericho defending the Ring of Honor World title, which sounds weird to say in 2022, against Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara. This one is a little difficult because I would not have had Sammy Guevara in this match. I think that should have been Daniel Garcia. I don't know what they're doing with Daniel Garcia. I know he's defending the title in Dark and Dark Elevation, but he's not actually defending the title on Dynamite or Rampage, which I'm talking about him as the pure champion. And I think they're building towards Jericho and Garcia at a future Ring of Honor show. So if that's the case, I'm going with Chris Jericho to retain the championship. If not, Bryan Danielson should win the Ring of Honor title. Depending on what they want to do. Depending on what Tony Khan has is up his sleeve. If the plan is to do Garcia and Jericho winner take all at not at Final Battle, but maybe at a Super Card of Honor, a WrestleMania weekend, that's where I would do that at. Then Jericho should retain, but not just have Bryan Danielson win the title. You know, I don't know if you're going to put the title on the AEW World title on Bryan Danielson. We know what Bryan Danielson I think would be the perfect person to take the title off of. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. Next up, we got Britt Baker taking on Saraya. This one I think is kind of easy at this point. You have Saraya. I think this is Saraya's first match in like 4 or 5 years. I think she should win here. Which I think is going to set up something that happens in the women's championship match. Which I am going to talk about in just a little bit, but I think Saraya is going to win here. She's only going to have one match per month, because that's I believe what her doctor said she's only allowed at this moment. See if she, gets the groove back into there. It's kind of like the whole Sting deal. Sting only wrestles one match per month. There's occasions that he wrestles 2 matches per month, but he normally wrestles like 1 match per like Dynamite or month. So something like that. Death Triangle taking on the Elite for the Trios titles. Death Triangle won the Trios titles the week of the weekend, or I believe it was. They won the titles back on. Death Triangle won the titles back on September 7th. That was after the Young Bucks won the titles at All Out, and the whole thing with the Brawl Out, as is being dubbed, forced Tony Khan to strip all the champions who won that night, who were involved in that scuffle, including the Elite, and the Elite will be back on Saturday. And I think they're going to reclaim the the Trios titles, because they didn't really get to do anything with those titles except win them. I think the Elite with the Trios titles is a little bit better than Death Triangle, because it's kind of because they're kind of teasing something with Pac and the rest of the Lucha Brothers. So we'll see what happens there. But I think the Elite's are going to retain the titles, or regain the titles rather, and they're going to have I think the next feud for the Elite's going to be the House of Black. Because I think right after the Elite wins, I think we're going to have the House of Black come back and just beat the shit out of the Elite. Listen, just the nerd side of me wants to see Kenny Omega versus Malachi Black, or Kenny Omega versus Buddy Matthews. I mean, who doesn't want to see either one of those matches? And I would love to see fucking the House of not the House of Black, the Kings of the Black Film, Malachi Black and Brody King. To see them bring the PWG tag team titles to WWE, not WWE, to AEW, and defend those on Dynamite against the Young Bucks and beat the Young Bucks. That'd be great. But yeah, I say the Elite's going to regain the tag team, the trios titles rather, and then immediately following that match, we're going to have the return to the House of Black, and we're going to set up that program, which that should be fun as fuck. Steel cage match, Lucha Boy, yeah, Steel cage match, Jungle Boy Jack Perry taking on Luchasaurus. This match is an official match. We didn't get an official match between these two. I think this is going to be the first match against each other. I could be wrong though. Jungle Boy has to win this, right? I'm gonna go with Jungle Boy here. No, that's right. They did wrestle on Dynamite a few weeks ago. Jungle Boy lost to Luchasaurus, and I think I think this is gonna be Jungle Boy's. He's gonna give Luchasaurus his comeuppance, and then we're gonna eventually get the actual match with Christian Cage when Christian is fully healed from his injury. But that's what I think is gonna happen there. So there's that. All right, so we got 2 matches left on the show that we're gonna talk about here. The AEW Women's World Championship match. Toni Storm defending against Jamie Hayter. This one is toss up for me. Jamie Hayter is super over with the crowd right now. Toni Storm is probably my favorite AEW Women's Champion because she's on TV and she's defending the title and she's doing title eliminator matches with worthy opponents, and this is the most this is the most screen time and match time that Tony Khan has given and give his AEW women's champions, because Riho, when she was the champion, she had commitments to Stardom that she couldn't get out of. So it screwed up that whole booking of her as a women's champion. Nyla Rose was not a very good women's champion at all. Hikaru Shida, even though she is one of my favorite wrestlers on the roster, she didn't get very much. She didn't get treated with the respect that she deserves. She was the champion for over a year. 370 something days as champion. Didn't like that so much. Not her reign. I didn't like the way she was there. Her reign was handled. Britt Baker, her reign was not very good. And Thunder Rosa has probably been the worst women's champion ever. She's just in AEW. That is, she won the title, didn't appear on television the following Dynamite after winning the title. She was barely featured on television. Only got didn't give that much promo time. When she was featured on television, she was barely in the match. And then she was supposed to drop the title to Toni Storm at All Out, and she pulled out because of back. And I said, I was talking to one of my friends earlier about this, and I said, Shawn Michaels herniated 2 discs in his back, wrestling a fucking casket match against The Undertaker, and finished the match, by the way, and then committed to finishing the story of Stone Cold's rise to the title for WrestleMania that year. Why couldn't you just do the same thing for Toni Storm? That was kind of unfair to Toni Storm, and Toni Storm rightfully has called her out on this, and even Tony Khan now is actually thinking about stripping Thunder Rosa as the champion. Good, do it. Toni Storm's doing a way better job with the title than Thunder Rosa has ever done, and Thunder Rosa's kind of not well liked by a lot of people backstage, from what I hear. So, and Toni Storm, I haven't heard more bad thing about Toni Storm's when it comes to backstage. That being said, Jamie Hayter, I love Jamie Hayter. She is one of my favorites. She is super over every time she comes out. And this really all started, like, her getting massively over was building up, and then at All Out, she was like the most over woman in that match outside of Toni Storm. or maybe Sheeta. It's one of the two. And people wanted, and people was pulling for Jamie Hayter to win. I actually, she was my other pick to win too, because like I wouldn't have been mad if Jamie Hayter won that at All Out. But I knew it was the right call to put Toni Storm with the title. I think this is the match where you have to give the fans what they want. You have to go strike while the iron is hot. Jamie Hayter is the hot commodity right now. I'm going to say Jamie Hayter wins the AEW Women's title. Now, I have another scenario. Do I think it's going to happen, though? Even though it's my pick, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Toni Storm is still going to retain the championship, even though my pick is Jamie Hayter. I think what's going to actually happen in this match, Toni Storm wins because of Britt Baker, because Britt Baker is frustrated and mad that she lost to Saraya earlier on in the night. Then, this is when you finally do the full babyface turn with Jamie Hayter. You have Jamie Hayter pissed the fuck off and beat the ever-loving shit out of Britt Baker. Jamie Hayter is the ultra babyface here. And you know what I would do with Jamie Hayter next? Put her with the Blackpool Combat Club. There. I said that. So, but my actual pick to win this match is Jamie Hayter, but I do think they're gonna go with retention with Toni Storm. Though I like the idea of the interim women's champion, or an interim champion losing before they have to do the unification match with the real champion. I think that's kind of interesting. Main event: Jon Moxley defends not the MWA. Jon Moxley defends the AEW Championship against MJF. I know a lot of people said, well, you know, Eddie Kingston would have been a perfect fit to dethrone CM Punk and whatnot. I'm like, guys, whether it was CM Punk or not, like regardless of what happened at All Out, whether it was a brawl or not a brawl, following All Out, it was going to be MJF. Always going to be MJF as the next challenger for the AEW Championship. I love Jon Moxley. This run of Moxley has been my favorite run of Moxley. I think this reign is his reign. This current reign he's on as the AEW champion, it's better than the one he had in 2020. That's just me. I didn't really care for his run as champion in 2020. I thought it was meh at best. He had some fine matches with Kenny Omega and I believe I think he had a match and the match with Jericho was all right. He had a great match with Brody Lee at Double or Nothing that year. Those two have incredible chemistry. I do believe he had another match he had a match with MJF, which is all right. But I think this is the night they're gonna go with MJF. I think MJF is gonna win the AEW Championship, and then what they do from here, I don't know who's next in line to take the title off of MJF. I mean, that's gonna be hard to figure out at least. You have plethora of people. You have Adam Cole when he comes back. If you want to put Adam Cole as a babyface, he's over. So I might as well do that. But Adam Cole in there, you could put Bryan Danielson in there. You can put Darby Allin in there if you want to. Darby Allin's a perfect it's not perfect idea, but he's a great option. Darby and MJF had a phenomenal match last year at War Games at Full Gear when they opened the show. That was a phenomenal opening match. You can do Jungle Boy if you want to do Jungle Boy. You can do You could do Wardlow, but I don't know if I want to see that because the last time we did the whole Wardlow thing, Wardlow, they kind of killed Wardlow's momentum. You do Samoa Joe if you want to turn MJF babyfaces. If you fully want to do MJF as a babyface, Ricky Starks if you want to keep MJF a heel. You can do. Let's look at this other. You can do Keith Lee whenever you want to. Let's skip one Keith Lee if you want to break him away. Uh, if CM Punk comes back, if I don't think he is, but if you could do that, you can go back to doing Kenny Omega whenever Kenny Omega is fully like ready to do one-on-one matches. You can do Pac. Pac would be a great option. You can do, I'm trying to think of some other people here. Malachi Black. I think Malachi Black is a perfect you know, idea for that. But I do think it's gonna be MJF. I think MJF is gonna win the championship. And I think Winter Coming, it's gonna probably be MJF versus depending on if you are turning William Regal heel, if you're really gonna turn MJF a babyface or keep him a heel. That all depends on what comes out of there. If MJF becomes a babyface, you go with Ethan Page. If you have MJF stay as a heel, go with Ricky Starks. That whole whether or not MJF is a heel or babyface thing, will decide Winter is coming. But that is the stuff that's happening at Full Gear. Now let's talk about the big show that's happening the night after, which is at the Ariake Arena in Tokyo, Japan, for New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom. They present historic crossover. This show is going to be huge. Only how many matches are only announced right now? There is a total of 9 matches of the main card, 2 matches in the pre-show. I'm not going to really predict the pre-show matches because I don't know who's in. I would predict the Stardom Rambo. I don't know who's going to be in that. We don't actually. I don't think we have participants announced for that yet. So probably find out on the night of who's going to be in that match. We might find out at the Gold Rush show, which is happening the night before, which plays a massive role in the main event of this show, which is going to be Mayu Iwatani versus Kairi Hojo for the inaugural IWGP Women's title. We're going to go talk about that when we get to that. But the other matches in the show, we got Ishii, we got Yoshihashi and Yo with from Chaos with Lio Rush. They're going to take on the House of Torture. Evil Takahashi, Sho, and Dick Togo in an 8-man tag match. I'm gonna go with Chaos and Lio Rush here, just because I love Ishii, and I love Lio Rush to a degree. His personality as a person, him as a wrestler is great. I love, but also I like Actually, I don't really care for much of people in the House of Torture. So I'm gonna go with Chaos and Lio Rush on that one. 6-woman tag match. We got Queen's Quest, Sammy, Saya, Kamatani. She'll be teaming with Azumi, who is one of my absolute favorite wrestlers in the world right now. She is killing it at 20 something. I believe she's 20 years old now. I believe she's 20. I don't want to. Yeah, she's 20 years old right now. She is, I believe, the current, I believe she's the current champion in Stardom, but yeah, she's the high speed champion, doing some great stuff over there with that title. Again, only 20 years old, and she is becoming one of my favorite wrestlers in the entire world. They will be teaming with Lady C from Queen's Quest. They'll be taking on Nana Del Mondo, Tekla, Himeka, and Saya May, Sakurai. I like both these groups, so they're just so wrong for me to Okay, so this is interesting because Saya is going to be defending her title, her her Wonder of Stardom title the night before, against Kairi Hojo. I don't know if she's going to win. I'm we'll talk about when we get that because I will that all depends on what happens there. But hmm, I'm going to go with Queen's Quest on this one because I don't know, I like all six of these ladies in this match here. Um, but Queen's Quest has, I mean, Donna Del Mondo has maybe two of my favorites in that group. Um, Micah and Julia. I mean, I mean, I like them out of that group. I like Tekla too, but Queen's Quest has a lot of my favorites in there. Queen's Quest, founded, of course, by uh, now goes by Io Sky in WWE. Io Shirai, she's one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions. Will be having her big night next weekend, competing in her fourth War Games match. Yeah, it's a fourth War Games match overall, which is gonna be fun. Excited for that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Queen's Quest here, and so that's my pick there. Tom Lawler and Shiri take on Zack Sabre Jr. and Julia. Oh, this should be a lot of fun. Zack Sabre Jr. is great. Julia is phenomenal at what she's doing. She is. So somebody asked me this question with regards to Stardom. Who from Stardom would get would what was it? What was the actual question? Would probably get like who would become like a mega star outside of Japan? And I said Julia. She just has that it factor about her, right? So, and it's funny. I kind of compared her push, her early push to Charlotte, but in a way, but my only difference was people actually like Julia now. Like the push she's getting, she does get the Charlotte push, but people like Julia. So, so I think Julia will be one of those stars that can break out into the here in the states, and if she goes to like a big promotion like AEW or WWE, I think especially now with Triple H in charge of WWE and his love for the Joshi style because he loves Joshi wrestling because he signed Kyrie, he signed Mako Satomura, he signed Io Shirai, he signed uh Saraya. So which well, he doesn't have Kyrie anymore, obviously, but he loves the Japanese style of wrestling too. So I can see Julia making it big in places like WWE and in AEW if the AEW get the shit right with the women's division. I can see that happening. But this one is difficult because Julia is challenging for the World of Stardom Championship in a couple of months. Next month, actually, I believe. At Dream Queendom on December 29th, she'll be challenging either Shiria Utami Hayashishita for the World Stardom title, which that match will be determined on who's facing Julia uh, the night before at Gold Rush, which is going to be, like I said, Shiri and Utami Hayashishita, which that match should be phenomenal because they've had nothing but bangers. And if you guys know about me and my podcast from before I started doing this exclusively on YouTube, when I was doing stuff for Spotify, their match last year won Match of the Year, uh, and rightfully so. It's one of the best. Like when people go back into the annals of time, their series of matches will go down as some of the best wrestling matches in the world, and it's gonna be great. But who to go for here? Man, Tom Lawler or Tom Lawler and Sherry. Sherry's great. Sherry, by the way, congratulations to Sherry. I don't know if I brought this up on any previous podcast, but she did win Wrestler of the Year for the top five PW top 150 wrestlers. It was either top 100 or top 150. One of those. It was for the women. She made the top spot, rightfully deserved. The year she's had is incredible. And the year she's gonna continue having a career she's gonna continue having is great. But here I'm gonna go with Zack Sabre Jr. and Julia. I think Julia should have some momentum going into her eventual title match here on the show and going into Dream Queendom on the 29th of December. So that's what I think I have here. And then we got Suzuki Gun. We have Suzuki Gun all over this match here. Taichi and Kaminaro. They would be teaming with Natsupoi and Tam Nakano, which Tam Nakano is adorable and amazing. That's what she does. She's great. I love her. They will be taking on El Desperado and Dookie, who will be teaming with probably my favorite women's tag team on the planet right now, Black Desire, which is Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid. Boy, Starlight Kid. If you guys haven't ever seen Starlight Kid, you guys are in for a treat if you go watch the show here. But I believe this will be the first time that women will be all over this show for a New Japan show. They're everywhere on this show. And some of you guys will be introduced to Starlight Kid for the first time. Starlight Kid is, I believe, only 21 years old. She is the current Artist of Stardom champion with Kashima. So Starlight Kid is currently 1/3 of the Artist of Stardom champion with Kashimaya and Momo Watanabe. Momo Watanabe, who's coming to our own, so she's joining Oedo Tai. These, by the way, Black Desire is a subgroup of Oedo Tai members. Oedo Tai is fantastic. One of my favorite heels. I was watching the show they did. Oh man, what show was it they did? I believe it was the. I do believe it was the show that they crowned the finals for the. Yes, it was this show right here, which crowned the finals for the championship thing, right? Oh no, actually, it was not. It was the Goddess Festival show that had one of my favorite matches on the show, which was Kamatani and Mina Shirakawa. Shout out to her. Hope she's doing all right. She got a concussion from her match with Saya, and one of my favorite matches that I saw on that show, which was that Goddess of Stardom title match with Tam Nakano and Natsupoi. They defeated Black Desire. It was fantastic stuff. And also we saw another match on that show, which had God's Eye and Donna Del Mondo. They went to a time limit draw, which saw the return of Konami, which I love seeing her wrestle again, and also Fury defeated Micah, which was a great match too. But Oedo Tai has some of these great members. You have Kashimiya, like I mentioned, Rina, Ryaka. We got Miss Death there, Starlight Kid, Momo Watanabe, Karma, which I believe not same Karma from WWE. It's not Awesome Kong. I wanted to add Natsuko Tora, which she did come back. She recently did come back. She lost to Tamihai Yoshida on that same Goddess Festival show. But like I said, Black Desire is great. I love Momo Watanabe. Since she joined Oedo Tai, she has come into her own. Same with Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid, has done some incredible stuff. That match with Meltier, or or whatever you want to call their name. Tatsupoi and Nakano. I loved what I loved about that was they shut their music off mid the entrance. Black Desire did, and it was fantastic. It was like such heels. I loved it. But Starlight Kid's great. You guys are in for a treat. Same goes for Azumi. You guys are in for a treat seeing this. I'm gonna go, and this is just me being biased here because I love Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid. I'm gonna go with Suzuki Gun, with El Desperado and Dookie, with Suzuki Goons, Desperado and Dookie, and Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid as the winners here. That's my pick because I'm biased when it comes to Watanabe and Starlight Kid. Speaking of being biased here, we have Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan, taking on the new ace, not Mayu Iwatani, the other ace of New Japan, of Stardom, Utami Hayashishita, who is my favorite wrestler on the planet right now, who, in my opinion, just me, should have won #1 spot for 2021. That's just me. I'm just throwing it out there. I understand why people loved like Bianca Belair, but I think she should have won #1. That is just me. They will be taking on Hiroki Goten and Micah. Micah is fantastic what she does. I enjoy her stuff. She is great. I just watched a video of her earlier, of shoving somebody out the way, and then I guess her way of apology was doing the kawaii face, and making her friends laugh. It was adorable. It was fun, but she's great. But as much as I love Micah, and I really love Micah, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Utami Hayashishita is gonna win this. Speaking of, there was a video I saw of those two, which I thought was pretty funny. It was they were doing, I don't remember the dance they were doing, but it was for TikTok, and Tanahashi starts doing the air guitar, and it threw Utami the hell off. It like like she didn't see it coming, and it threw her the hell off, and it was fucking hilarious because she just lost it. It was great. But I'm gonna go with Tanahashi and Hayashishita, because who doesn't go with Hayashishita and Tanahashi? Next up, we get a 10-man tag team match. We get LIJ members, or the entire LIJ, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, Sanada Bushi, and Hiromu Takahashi. I love every one of those guys. Shingo Takagi, great. Tetsuya Naito is probably one of my favorite wrestlers in the world. They'll be taking on United Empire's Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and TJP and Francesco Akira, and Gideon Gray. So I'm gonna go because I just mentioned LAJ. Come on, LAJ is my group here. Naito's great. Shingo Takagi, former IWGP champ. Well, actually, the two of these are former IWGP champions. Obviously, we have Naito, Shingo, Takagi, and on the other side. Well, actually, you don't have it. Actually, Will Ospreay is defending is wrestling in another match. So basically, you got Naito, Shingo, Sanada, Hiromu. Hiromu's great. Will he bring Darrow? We'll find out on Sunday night. Or Sunday morning, rather. We got Kazuchika Okada, Toriano teaming with Great Muta to take on United Empire's Great Okan, Jeff Cobb, and Aaron Hanai. Come on, Okada and Muta. I'm gonna go with Okada and Muta here. I love the Great Muta. He's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. He is doing his retirement tour, which one of his last matches is going to be with Shinsuke Nakamura and Pro Wrestling Noah on January 1st. I believe the last match he's going to have as the Great Muta as the character of the Great Buddha is going to be teaming with Sting. I don't know who his opponents are going to be, but I believe that's what's going to happen. I heard somewhere down the line that Darby Allin's going to be teaming with Sting and Muda too. I don't know where I heard that from, but that's going to happen there. But I'll go with Chaos and Muda for that with a win here. IWGP United States Championship on the line. Will Ospreay defending against Shota Umino. I love Shooter, but he's not gonna. He isn't winning. I do love that weekend Moxley and Shooter are having title matches, so that's good. But Will Ospreay's gonna retain here. There's no reason to have Will Ospreay lose here for against Shooter. There's no reason to take the title off of Will Ospreay. Plus, I think they're saving Will Ospreay for because I don't know how they're gonna get there because New Japan won't clear him. But Shibata, I feel like they're gonna save Will Ospreay for Shibata. I think somehow, some way, Shibata is gonna get a United States title match. Somehow, I don't know how they're gonna have that work, but it's gonna happen. Main event: Mayu Iwatani taking on Kairi Hojo to determine the first ever IWGP Women's Champion. Now, what's interesting about this match is, like I said, the night before, Kairi will be challenging for the World or Wonder of Stardom title. She was supposed to have that match a month or so ago. Let me see if I can find it. I believe she was supposed to have it on New Blood, but ended up not happening. Or not New Blood. I'm trying to find the show that was supposed to happen on. Give me a second here. Okay, so it was supposed to happen on the Midsummer show. It was supposed to be Kairi Hojo and Saya Kamatani. She was supposed to challenge or defend her title against Kairi. Substituting her was Himeka. Kairi was pulled from the show because she tested positive for COVID. So now we're getting to Saturday night at Gold Rush, where she will get her match that she was promised against Saya. I don't know what's going to happen with that match because that outcome depends on who wins the IWGP Women's title. Because at the end of one of the previous shows, Maya Iwatani at the Goddess Festival show on the 3rd of November, she defeated Alpha Male to retain her SWA championship. But immediately after that match, she vacated the title. She relinquished the title voluntarily relinquished the title to focus on the women's title, the IWGP Women's title. So if Kairi wins the Wonder of Stardom title, Mayu Iwatani wins the women's title for New Japan. So I don't know. This is a little tough here because I love both these wrestlers. By the way, Mayu Iwatani is incredible. Kairi Sane is incredible. But also, we've seen Stardom and New Japan wrestlers hold multiple championships. I believe Julia holds another title in New Japan, or not New Japan, Stardom. No, she doesn't. Okay. Somebody holds some type of titles in Japan, New Japan, Stardom right now. And I'm trying to remember. Here we go. So, trying to see. So currently, no one holds multiple championships. Started, but there has been there was that time. Julia did hold 2 different titles at once. I do know this. I do know. So it's not realm out of the realm of possibility that if Kyrie beats Kamatani the night before, that she doesn't still win the IWGP Women's Title. This is a tough one, but for name recognition, because let's say they do they do go to the States, right? Kyrie, even though as much as I love Maya Iwatani, I speak highly of her all the time. When I say who are some of the who when I give a top 5 of the best women's wrestlers on the planet, she's usually in my top 5, and she's usually on the list of the people that I put out there and give recommendations to. But if you have name recognition behind you, Kyrie Hojo, Kyrie Sane, whatever Kyrie, what do you ever want to call her? She has recognition outside of the States, or in the States rather. Outside of Japan, she has name recognition because she went to WWE. That's a lot of people don't understand is like most of these wrestlers are like most of the Stardom talent that's currently employed by Stardom they didn't do much for WWE outside of Kyrie. Same thing goes with if this wasn't Kyrie and it was Io and Io had went back to Stardom, I would say the same thing for Io Shirai. Io Shirai has name value on it because of her time in WWE, and same thing goes for Kyrie. And if Kyrie wins here tonight, she will make history being the first woman in history to hold WWE, Stardom, and New Japan Gold. And she'll also be the first person to main event WWE pay-per-view, a Stardom pay-per-view, and a New Japan pay-per-view. So, cause if you guys are not aware, she main evented 2019's TLC event when she teamed with Asuka to defend the women's tag team titles against Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. And then she did also I'm certain, given that she was the World Stardom champion at one point, I believe she's a 2-time World of Stardom champion. Let me look that up first because I don't want to press screw that up there. No, she's a 1-time World Stardom champion. I believe I must have been thinking of Io Shirai, who is a 2-time women's champion along with Maya Iwatani. She's main evented quite a few Stardom shows, and then she'll be mating with this show here, which this is also making history too, because this is going to be the first time ever that women will go on last on her. And technically, it's realistically it's still a New Japan show. If you think about it long enough, this is the first time ever that a women's match is going to main event a show for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's kind of crazy that how far we've gotten when it comes to women's wrestling in Japan, including New Japan and Stardom, rather, and in all of wrestling as a whole. But this is going to be hard to do. So, if I had to choose one, I'm going to go with Kyrie on this one. I think Kyrie, to me, and again, I love Mayu, but if you're gonna go to the States and you're gonna be on national television, maybe, and like I said, they got this working relationship with AEW that New Japan does, and you wanna send the IWGP Women's Champion over there to have matches with Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida and Jamie Hayter and Saraya and who else that you can bring over here? Um, uh, Yuka Sakazaki, Riho can do some stuff there with Serena Deeb, Athena, people like that. And again, you're going to be on national television. And I goes back to my point with Kyrie having national television exposure for WWE in NXT and in WWE and on the main roster. So I'm going to go with Kyrie. winning the IWGP Women's Championship. That is my pick to win. And that is my picks and previous predictions, all that stuff for both her crossover and Full Gear. I will be back here Saturday night with Full Gear. I will probably actually have to do the show immediately after, so I can get that taken care of, the review for Full Gear, and then get ready to watch the historic crossover show, which is going to happen early in the morning because it's in Japan, and that's how it works. So until then, I will see you guys back here for SmackDown review. Hopefully, get some news on SmackDown there. Kevin Owens is still scheduled to compete for War Games. He is going to be on SmackDown tomorrow. Scheduled to be at SmackDown tomorrow, and then the following SmackDown leading up to Survivor Series, and he probably will just move to SmackDown together as a whole together. So that should be fun. Until then, I will guys see you Friday again for SmackDown, and then Saturday night for Full Gear. Sometime Sunday, or maybe Monday, depending on how much time I got, do the historic crossover review. I'll try to get somebody on with the review for the show. But until then, hit the subscribe button, like button, all that stuff. Like I said at the beginning of the show, do all the social medias. I've been Matt the Misfit. Until then, we're out.